All right, let's jump right into the training, and I'm going to show you exactly what to do to get you started. And then the next one, I will tell you what we're going to do to advance a little bit more after that. So first off, we're going to start off with scenes, overlays, camera switcher, audio levels, preview, live mode. So we're going to jump into each one of those to make sure. All right, so first thing first, let's jump right into the scene section. In this panel, we've got everything laid out for you so you can see how to close the window, trigger a scene, um, unlock, everything's laid out for you right there. Now, one of the most important parts of this right here is when you want to go to a certain scene, any scene, there's that play section that you have to look at when you put your mouse and hover over it. And you see that play button, like YouTube or any other place. You cannot click on, for an example, where it says the name intro. You have to click on that little box that says play. That will trigger the scene. You can think of scenes as slides or anything like that, but scenes are the next ones that you're going to go to. Okay. From that point, you have your main broadcast. The first one is your intro, then your main broadcast, and then the end, the conclusion, the outro. I usually say 4 scenes is what you want to just start with, and you only really need to use 1 or 2, but you want to create 4. We're going to jump into that. To create a scene, the plus symbol at the very bottom where it says add new scenes, that's how you're going to create a scene. You want it to be created. Well, my preference is that you want to create it blank. So that way, if you're doing an event and you need to create a new scene, just to make something up right on the spot, you don't want it to be created and then your camera to be showing you, maybe like we said before, you're eating something, drinking something, right? To duplicate a scene, and we're going to get into that to show you how to do that, which is a lot easier, and then you can take away items. But the one next to the plus sign, and then new scene group, it's a folder, right? And I advise this, especially if you're going to use different ones for trainings. So now you can have a scene that you create 5 different ones, and that's for sales training. Now you do another training in another section of something, you can use all of those ones in that folder, right? It just keeps it organized. And as soon as you open the folder, you've got 4 or 5 scenes with sales. You go to the next training, the next day, the next hour, you got 4 or 5 scenes with training on speaking with confidence, whatever it is. Okay? Export scene is that after that. That's if you want to save that scene, and I advise it. So then now you've got 5 scenes in a folder. Maybe something crashes, you don't want to lose it. You've saved that to your hard drive or wherever. You can just simply open it up and then delete a scene. Okay, so that's simply how you use each one of those. Again, I suggest 4, but right here I'm just showing you intro, main broadcast, conclusion. That's your outro. Hey, thanks for joining me. You click that scene, it plays music, plays a video, and I'll show you an example of some of these right here for you in a second as well. Okay. All right. So next, we are going with adding your camera, background, logo, countdown, and then how to share your screen. Okay. So most of all of those are going to be inside of your overlays panel, right? So remember, your scene is where you're going to be located. It's the movie, right? You're in the kitchen, you're at the grocery store, you're at the playground. Each time you switch, you're going to a new location, just like in a movie. Overlays, everything that's inside that scene that's movable. Everything on your scene can't be moved, right? Everything that's on that scene can be moved. If it's the clock, if it's your camera, if it's whatever it is on the scene, and we're going to show you some examples of those as well. All right. Again, you can just kind of follow along. One of the biggest differences in this here is you have all scenes and then you have current scenes, as we can see with the arrows showing there. So if I put something in all scenes, that means if I switch from 1, 2, 3, 4, that item is going to show up in every single scene. And some people want that. Example, if I am doing some training and I want my logo to be here, for an example, and if I go to the next scene, I want my logo to be there, I need to put that inside of all scenes, right? Maybe I don't want that in every scene, but I just want it in scene number 1 and scene number 3. I put my logo in scene number 1 and in scene number 3. And that goes in the current scene. Okay. So for example, like it says your host name, but my host name to be where I am doing the training by myself, but then I go and do a scene where it's myself and a guest. Now I want my name and the guest name, right? So I'm going to put that in the current scene, not in every scene. Okay. Um, the eyes that you see there with the pointing, it's how we turn things on and off, right? The visibility. How showed you where a overlay can come on screen, it can go off screen, it can, appear and disappear. Maybe I'm doing, for an example, like what you're seeing here. Before, I had this scene. I'm going to click the eye, and now that scene disappears. I click the eye for visibility, and it comes back. Okay, so those eyes are the ability to turn it on and off, right? Sometimes I'll hear trainings where a coach will say, all right, everyone, come back to me for a second. Pay attention to me. I don't maybe want them to watch what's on the screen right now. Boom. I just turn the eye off and I say, okay, let's get back into the training. Turn it right back on. All right. So that's that one there on all of those. And again, any questions, let me know. We're going to go over this when we meet one-on-one as well. But for the simplistic fact of it, this is how we turn it on and off. To add a new image overlay, bottom button that has the like photo thing that's used on a lot of things there, different platforms. You can import them from wherever folder you have on your computer, or you can drag and drop, right? So whichever one's easier and more comfortable for you. I use the drag and drop system. Save me just a little time usually, but that's how you have it. Add text overlay. You click that. It's going to give you the ability to put an overlay onto the screen, right? Welcome to my meeting. So we hit add text overlay. You just type it inside there, whatever you want. Hey, the show is going to start in 20, or the show is going to start. I'll show you how to add a countdown timer for the time. The show is about to start. Grab your pen and paper. Whatever it is you want to be seen in a text format, that's what you're going to do to add a text overlay. And remember, overlay just simply means anything that's in the scene that's movable. So if I type a name, I can move it from the bottom and use my mouse and just move it to the top, right? I can move it left or right. Add a new countdown in the 3, 2, 1 section. And there's a few more items that's in here now. I'm just showing you some of the basics. But countdown, so we use this primarily for our intro one, right? The show is going to start in 20 minutes. Click that, just put the time that you want people to have, and just hit save. It will automatically come in. Then we're going to resize it, move it to wherever we want it to go. Create a folder. Again, just for organization purposes, I use that a lot. For an example, I will create a folder that says animated overlay. So I know all of my moving overlays are in that folder, right? Static overlays. I'll say important overlays, something. Now I got a folder. I just put them all inside there. And then, of course, again, we have the deleted section, right? We can delete any overlays, and we can bring them right back into with the edit section. All right, so that's it for that simple portion. There's some more that we're going to go over. I keep those out because they're just a little bit more advanced and don't want to confuse anyone when they're doing it. All right, so now I'm going to hit the I to make this disappear and bring up a different one. I'm using an advanced technique that I'm going to teach you so you're able to make it fly in and out like that. All right. So next, we're going to audio setup. Very, very easy. eCamm does most of it. I'm just going to show you how to adjust some of these that you're going to see here. Now I'm going to go and show you the back end of my section here so you guys can see. And so now you see the back end of my one here. So over here, we have the sound levels. You get to monitor if you're clipping, you stay in the green, your volume's good. Sometimes go to yellow to red, tell you if you're clipping. I am using my Vocaster, but what this does is a slow arrow here gives you the ability to choose any microphone that you want, right? So I have my Zoom microphone, I can mute it, I have my iMac camera, and then another microphone that I get picked up on, right? So very simple to be able to adjust that. If you add more mics, that's where it would be, right? If you have a different microphone, that's where it would be. Same thing here. In my sound levels, I have my iPad microphone that you can see there. That's placed in there because I have my iPad for it. But any other microphone you add, 3, 4, 5 microphones, it will be in that sound level. And here again, we have our movie section where you can mute something. That's if you bring in an object that has sound, right? You want to play a trailer that has music, it's a separate sound system, a separate mic. You can mute it, you can control the volume of it, and your sound effects, right? Applause, sound effect, if you need it to be a little bit louder, something like that. Everything that's in your sound system will be there, right? All audio sound system. This is when you want to choose how you want the sound to come in from your screen share, right? So if you're sharing screen, maybe you're in Chrome or wherever, Safari, and you're playing a YouTube video from there, for example, you can control the level of that sound. Okay. Again, if I'm in Zoom and I'm playing a YouTube video and maybe people say they can't hear it, I don't have to turn up the volume on my entire computer. I can turn the volume up specifically for that video inside of my screen share. Okay. And also your Zoom guests, when you bring your guests in, you can control the sound, audio, and whatever the sound level you want. And then last is the echo cancellation. You can cancel if someone says, "Well, I'm hearing an echo," right? You can use that to simply click into there and get that. All right. So let's come out of that again. Very, very simple there. Next, we're going to jump into go live using your virtual camera. Now, one of the great things now, since you're on a new um, eCamm, is the virtual camera automatically sets itself up. You're just going to give it permission to go into Zoom, Google Meets, any other platform you go in that you may want. And what that virtual camera does is it simply streams everything from your computer into whatever platform you're in. That's it. If I'm in Google Meets and people say, "Well, how are you doing all that stuff in Google Meets?" I'm not. I'm doing it on my computer. My virtual camera is just allowing you to see it inside of Google Meets, right? So when I go into Zoom, for example, I don't have to ask permission to share screen or get it. I can just simply do what I'm doing because if they see my screen, then they see everything that's on there, right? So that's how the virtual camera does. But just to show you an example of that virtual camera, I will show you the back end. But then first, I'm also going to show you how to stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, and all of that. Okay. So let's jump right back into here. Where you start at is over here in this show preference. That's your settings, so forth. And this you can also find up here in your window areas right up here. Okay, in the profile edit section, right? Just used to clicking it right there. This comes up. Your destinations is where you're going to look at. Okay, get rid of that. And now you have the ability to get all your connected destinations, LinkedIn, Facebook, um, all of those sections. That's where you would connect them at. You come down here, add a new destination, you click on that. It gives you the ability to go into all of these sections that are already implemented. If you need to go to some place that's not here, you're going to get an RTEMP code. Okay, we're not going to go too much in that because most of the places that you're going to want to go or need to go are going to be right there so that you're able to, you know, get into them normally because everyone else uses them. All right. And next, we're going to dive into Zoom audio, for an example, right? Because we still wanted to show you some audio stuff there. So when you go into Zoom and you log in, it automatically connects. Again, eCamm, Zoom are one section. Okay. And let me go there. All right. So as we look here, we're in the computer audio section. So any microphone that you have attached, you get opportunity to choose to use inside of Zoom, right? So a lot of times people will say, "Hey, your audio sounds way better than mine." Whatever. We're using a professional mic, so I get to choose that, and that's simple in your settings in Zoom. What you would be using from eCamm, just click the settings button and choose whichever microphone. If it's your laptop, if it's your computer, your iMac, you can choose that. If you have another one typed in, plugged in, you can use those as well. You also can use the eCamm virtual mic, the same as the virtual camera, right? Which is just a high quality, gives you more opportunity to be able to use that. Right? So that is how you connect the audio inside of Zoom. Same thing, settings, and it's pretty much the normal way that you would normally do it. All right. Same thing with the camera. If you go into the camera, you can choose any one of the cameras that you may have added on. I have six cameras, seven cameras, no, five cameras. So I get to choose any one of those cameras, a different angle. Over here, if I want, I have a camera that comes down on my keyboard area. So if I'm trying to teach something and I'm writing or want people to see how I do something, I have a camera that comes down. So I can choose all of those. And we also can do those in the camera switchers and everything else that I'm going to show you here in just a second here, right? So, and then let me see where we did over there. Okay, so I'll show you some of those as well. Uh, to save it, it automatically saves right to your computer, so you don't have to do anything to save. You choose the destination for where you want it to save, and actually, I'll even show you that, and then export and import. Here's some great things about that. Let me go to the back end again and show you. All right. So up top here, you're going to see profile. If you click profile and come down, it's going to say export current profile rename. You can do all of those. For example, I have all of these as a different profile. Not to get too much for you for advanced, but each one of those is for like a different training, right? So I'll set my eCamm up for training one, and all of my scenes come up for that one. Right now, I go to a different business, a different company, different training, and I go to maybe this one here, right? And now I had a totally different one. Okay. So with that export, it works really great. So that if you were to go to a conference and you didn't want to carry your computer, your laptop, or something, or you forgot it, I usually save those to my hard drive or email it to a certain place. So now when I go to a certain place, if I don't have my Mac, I can log on to another Mac, just download eCamm, log in, go to my email, and I open up my profile, and all of my scenes, all of my stuff is there, just like at home, right? So it's really great ability to do that there. And then also the other one I was going to show here. Let me just take my notes. Save your scene. Okay. Export. Okay. And then saving it is just renaming it, right? So if you rename it, that's going to automatically save it and you're able to do that. So now let me show you a couple of examples really quick, and then we'll go ahead and wrap this one up and tell you what's coming up for the second portion. So I'm just going to use a couple of examples here. Oh, camera switcher. Let me show you that really quick because I did not show you that. So at the bottom here, this is the camera switcher. If you're not using more than one camera, you really don't have to worry about that. If you're going to use maybe a couple of cameras just to make storytelling a little different, a different effect, this is where you would do it. So if you notice, I've got one, two, three, four, five, six, 6 and 7. So I've got 7 cameras loaded up, right? So that's why I said I don't go too deep into that right away to show people. But if you ever seen scenes, if you ever saw scenes that where someone would maybe talking to the camera here, but then in the recording, the camera's recording their side of the face and they're talking straight, right? So I've got a camera over here recording me. So if I edit anything, I could put this view or this angle here. Or I could be talking and then I can go, so now let me tell you an important part, right? And I look directly into the camera. That gives you the ability to switch cameras, switch views. Um, you know, maybe someone's training and they're doing something with their hands below. They can have a camera come down on their hands as they're talking and create another scene that shows their face and their hands. Okay. So that is the end of that. All right. So let me show you this really quick and then I will show you how this works. So let's go scenes. All right. So I have a scene here. And let's say, for an example, I wanted to, I'm talking to my audience. And in that, and actually, yeah, I can show you the back end of how that's happening. So right over here is my next scene. I'm going to press play. I am going to say, hey, everyone, thank you all for coming. Let's get you started with a quick video. I press.
When you step on stage, you have seconds. Seconds to capture attention, command the room, and connect. Most speakers waste them, but not my clients, and certainly not me. I'm Roxana Zaya, world-class speaker, sought-after trainer.
Okay, so you see how that works. I just pressed play, went to the next scene. I loaded that video inside of my scenes panel. And now I am talking for a few minutes, and I say, let me tell you guys a story about how I first started. And I'm going to the next scene. Check it out.
I remember the very first time that I learned to speak should in my life. I was a very young girl. My parents were arguing for the 100th time. I remember standing at the bottom of the...
Okay, so that's how you do those scenes. Remember earlier, I told you about overlays. So let me come back for one quick second. And let's go here for an example. So for an example, what you're seeing is an overlay here, right? That I turned it on, it turned it off. But now I'm going to also show you how to use that in a format that's similar to what you just saw. You want to record a video. Remember, everything that you do here can be recorded and live at the same time. Or maybe you want to record a video and tell someone about a training that's coming up. Or in the live session, hey, I want to invite everyone to my next training. July the 2nd, whatever date it is, this comes up. And you know, it's, again, an engaging kind of movement and so forth like that, right? Any questions? Come on. That same story that you just, on the scenes that I just played, I can also have as an overlay. So now I can say, hey, let me share with you a story about my first time.
I remember the very first time that I learned to speak should in my life.
Now I'm here.
I was a very young girl. My parents were arguing for the 100th time.
Now I'm going to use the sound effects panel and mute it. Remember I showed you in the sounds level, in the sound effects, I can mute that. I can turn the sound.
Have you ever had one of those little plastic gumball machines?
Last thing in this, again, overlays, everything in a scene that can be moved, right? So I can make that smaller and bigger. The difference is if I use this as the scene, I can't move it. Scenes are set. So if I want the same video, the same image to be able to be moved around a screen, so now I can set it maybe here, just using my mouse, right? It goes to whatever you want it to be. If I want it to be like that, or I want it to be bigger, it goes right into there, okay? Let's show you one or two more, create. So we're showing you, all right. And so now, really quick, we're going to show you how to, let me bring that one back up, how to add a camera. We showed you the scenes. I think that is here. Let's take a look and see. Nope, it's this one. Okay. Wait, which one is it? Add a scene. Okay. All right, here we go. So, all right. So add a camera. All right, put it at the very first one. Add a camera. Again, inside of the camera overlay, we're going to right here. Again, if you hover your mouse over these will tell you. So it says new camera overlay. If you're using multiple cameras, this is how you would use it. or if you wanted to add a camera overlay for your guests. Right. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to create a new scene, right? Plus over here. Then I'm going to add a camera overlay, right? And with that camera overlay, I can control the spaces, right? So let's jump right into that. New scene. And here we go. So I'm going to add a camera overlay here, right? Add that camera overlay. Now you can see full kind of a full Monty, as they call it, right? I'm going to change my camera to the one I usually use, I'm more comfortable with. And it lets me go ahead and put on a screen. Don't worry about all this right now. We're going to show you how to do that later. Okay. And from here, as an overlay, remember everything can be moved. And so what I want in this camera on the scene, for example, is I want a space for me and my guests. Right. So I do this. And now I have that there. Now, I'm going to show you the back end of how I do this. Okay. So if I want to add in a logo, let's go and find it. There we go. I'm going to use this folder here. All right. So I want to add in a logo. I am simply going to take the logo and I'm going to drag and drop it in my overlay panel in the current scene. Okay. There we go. And I want it to be underneath the camera, right? Now I can resize it. Okay. And so let's go a little bit more. I want to show you this. Okay. And I want to resize that. Let's go a little bit more. Because I want everything on the screen. So, oops. Let's do it this way. And what I'm doing here ultimately is I am making a background so I can have everything on the screen or close to it. We'll just do that just so you can see what's happening. All right. Now here, I'm going to resize my overlay camera because this is where I want my guest to be. And in order to make another camera, we're simply doing a duplicate. We use with any method that you like. I use Option and drag, right? But you can use whichever method you want. So now I just created a scene for a guest and myself, right? So I can do an interview or I can do podcasts or whatever in your live. I can bring my guest into this space, right? But now, let me drag that out a little bit more to make it cover the entire thing. There we go. So now that is how I would create that scene for me and my guest, right? So that is there. Now I'm going to show you how to insert the logo and the lower third. And in order to do that, I'm going to go back here. So let's go. Yeah. All right. So on this, and actually, let me come back first. Oops. Go back. Okay. Here we go. So in this folder, I have a logo here that says Speaker Mastery. Again, all I'm going to do is take it, drag it, and I can put it in my overlay panel. Simple. Whatever way comfortable, I just drag it onto the screen and it is there. At this point, I can, resize it. And of course, you will put it to whatever platform, whatever space, whatever looks better. So now there it is, simply by dragging and dropping it into the overlay panel or directly onto the screen. Either way, you'll make adjustments from that point. And in an advanced section, I'll show you how to color that, make it look, better and so forth like that. Countdown timer. And what we're doing here is in essence making the intro video. Okay. For the countdown timer, we are going to go over to the 3, 2, 1 in the overlay section because the timer is an overlay. We place whatever time that we want there. And what I do is I usually put go to next scene when finished. Otherwise, you might forget. And then the countdown timer stops and you're grabbing, whatever. And now it's just staying on the same screen. But for now, we're going to do that. I am going to put the text as yellow just so it stands out, easy to see, even in this background here. Now I move it because remember it's an overlay. Anything that's on the screen can be moved. Okay. So now I got my countdown timer. And you don't have to be there. Remember, you can have this as a background, right? You can have your logo, your image, or whatever you have here, and then you can add music to it, or a welcome slide. All right, include screen share and a PDF deck. And this is a very important part that I'm going to share with you and show you, because you will be receiving this as well. All right, now a couple of ways to screen share. Over here, let me get these off now. And there we go. All right. So on your overlay panel, next to or above the globe, you have the icon that's a computer and a plus. That's your share screen overlay, right? You click that and it will bring up my desktop, right? So that's me sharing my screen. I just choose whatever, you know, Safari platform, whatever. That's how you would share screen. That's simple. All right. And ideally, what I always suggest is you, again, start off with a new scene, blank, and then now you can create. You can put your camera overlay so that the share screen isn't covering your face. You can share screen and make yourself a circle or any of those things. Alternatively, you also have it here in the middle of your screen, this button next to the play button. That's if you want to play a video file and camera overlay. So those are the same things that are inside of the overlay panel, right? But you can go right up top, click that as well, and then now that comes on as a share screen. I don't suggest using that one again. That's a little bit more advanced because you see the difference in how it put it behind me. Remember how I was showing you people were using it as a slide and whatnot. So I don't have the control to just move that share screen by itself, right? So I don't advise that one right away until you learn some advanced stuff. But I wanted to show you the option of you having that. And so that is going to conclude this section, showing you everything else, just double checking. And yes, and so the next lesson, we're going to be going over how to set up the virtual camera. But again, I told you eCamm sets that up, but just in case something happens, we're going to show you how to uninstall it and then install it right back in. We're going to show you dynamic zoom screens. And what I mean by that is you see all of the stuff that happens in this. So I'll show you a perfect example of that, in which you will be getting yourself as well. So for an example, here is a dynamic scene, right, that you can use in Zoom or any other Meet, Google Meets, whatever. And what you're seeing here is the PDF file. So instead of, oh, actually, no, let me go to this one. There we go. So what you're seeing here is a PDF file. And instead of just doing the normal slides, this is a slide that just looks different, right? We created this. What you're going to get is all of this, not the slide deck, but the coloring. But everything is interchangeable. So you will receive this in your email. You can just simply open it up in eCamm. I'll show you how to do that. And everything on the screen is interchangeable. So for an example where it says, actually, let me go to a couple of these. So you will get 15 of these here. I think it's 15. So I'll go through and show you really quick where these are at. So for an example, today's workshop, you get this. All of this you can change, the color, scheme, everything. You will get this setup where it's an interview for yourself and your person you're guesting will be on the other side, or you can switch them, but you'll get this. You will get yourself and two people. Maybe you want to interview with two people, right? You can change the name, everything. How about for four people? And all of this again is for all of the places, but primarily Zoom, because that's what most people host it. So imagine now hosting a Zoom meeting and it looks a little bit different like this, right? Everyone is in each other's corner, and you're going to get this one as well, where again you can have 5 people all together now, yourself and 4 other people, and each one of your Zoom guests will be in those positions. Let's take it a step further. 5 people, 6 people altogether, right? If there were 6 people, you're going to get this as well. And then you're going to get this for the slide presentation. And this is for your share screen, right? Where you will be on the left side, as you're watching this left side, right side. You'll be on the side, one of the sides. And again, change all the titles, the coloring, all of those there. You'll get another one specific for your screen share, right? So you won't even have to learn it directly. You can just use this that I've set up for you already, and you'll be able to use all of the features of it. I showed you this one here, for example. This is a little bit more different, but I'll teach you how to use that. Again, it's in essence a share screen. Now I'm sharing a website and able to move it around, right? Again, this here specifically for the PDFs where you just drag and drop. You've got a slideshow, a slide deck. You drag it, you drop it, resize it as if you want. For example, you see how here this is, okay? And then underneath it, I have another slideshow where I can just move it, right? So again, the advanced techniques on these are great. You'll be going over some of these, and I'll show you how to put this in on the next one, because you're going to get this framework, and you can play around with it and try it. Next one, we're going to get, again, another slideshow, slide deck, but it's just a little different on the side. We have a comment section for live chat. So if you want to bring up a chat, like we talked about before, from a meeting, you can put the chats in here, and you will be here. Let me bring this up just so you can see. Bam, and let's change it up. There we go. So, hey, now the chats come on. Hey, Patrick just had a great point. Let's talk about it. Okay. And then final, last but not least, your CTA. Well, again, I'll put me here just so you can see what this looks like. And bam. All right. So now, if you want to say book your discovery call, right? Kind of like how we were in a meeting. Someone says, hey, well, how can we get in touch with you? Here's the QR code. Go ahead and scan it, or you can place whatever you want inside there. All right. So that is it for this one. That's what we're going to be going over next time. Let me know if you have any questions. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see this blow up. So let's go and do it. Appreciate it. And let's talk soon. And I'm about to do my outro. You ready to see it? First thing I'm going to do is my logo. That's what I normally do. But with this, I'm just showing you the advanced techniques of how you're able to do this. So when I'm signing off, instead of me just saying, all right, I'll see y'all next week, or I'll see y'all later. Hey, thank y'all for coming. Say my logo name. And it's also a sign that my dog knows whenever he hears that my recording is over, and he automatically comes over and he gets up and he starts to like want his pets, because he knows when I'm recording and training, he doesn't come over. But as soon as he hears that sound, then he knows it's over. All right, I'll talk to you soon, and let me know if you have any questions about this video.